I say what?
More than 20 million of us needed help from the government. And even that may be off. Why? The government systems that track unemployment have become overwhelmed due to, quote, backlogs in processing and historic volume of claims. We literally broke the system with need. They have been watching their checks shrink as time drags on, and they know our leaders are aware. And even what they have may be gone in a matter of weeks. We don't know that something's going to replace it. This was never about safety versus the economy. States that reopen too early and those that maintain tighter restrictions, take a look. Look at the 10 states, highest unemployment. Doesn't matter if they're red or blue. Most small businesses that close, how are they ever going to come back? Where are they going to get the capital? Too many listened and wanted to believe that we were rounding the corner. I told you then, and you know it now. Trump lied. This will be over by April. Trump lied. Magically vanished during the summer. Disappear after the election. They won't even talk about it. They all lied to you. Because they thought it would work for them. And it is worse than ever, especially since November. And so is Trump. But I gotta tell you, the real honest is no longer on that guy. You step up whenever we ask. I tell you, these people need help. There's a page. You can go. You can do it. You do it. You do it amazingly. You max people out. You go to the charity. You reach out. You send us stories. I don't have much, but I'll give what I can. Where is that in our leadership? Where is that in the people that we put there to do what we can't do? They knew the help was expiring. They watched key dates come and go. Just like the rent. This is a reality too real for too many, especially with kids. The question's not going to be what the Senate will. Will they be in a home for him to visit? You call Congress to the carpet, one side pulls the rug under the other. That's what they do. They just pull the rug out from the other side. This delay is on both. However, the blame can't be that offends the facts. McConnell has the most shame in his game, period. He sat on this situation, and he knows it, and he did it for political reasons. 200,000 dead, not enough. 26 million going hungry in September, not enough to do something. He called any deal to provide relief a, quote, waste of time, without a blessing from the lame duck in the White House.
I think the place to start is, are we actually making a law, or are we just making a point? And I think the way you make a law for sure is you know you've got a presidential signature.
By the way, he discounted the deal that the White House put out. Why? Why would he undercut the White House? He said he was waiting on Retrumplicans. Retrumplicans. How do we get a deal done that goes back to putting the people before the whims of the dime? Especially when people like Congressman Dusty Johnson. I'm not trying to beat down Dusty Johnson. Okay? I've had him on the show. I know what he does. He has respect for doing the job. But why would you back out tonight? Just because I said we have to talk about the fact that your party, only a couple of dozen of you have said that Biden won? That's enough to have you abandon a discussion about relief? Let's deal with what can be done in this environment. Congressman Dean Phillips, Democrat from Minnesota, part of a group pushing a bipartisan relief bill. Respected. Congressman, thank you for coming on Primetime.
Good to be with you, Chris.
And again, I know you talked to Dusty. The offer stands, okay? But you can't ignore what you guys are up against in the Democratic Party and what, frankly, a lot of still Republicans are up against. If they will leave rather than have to discuss the fact that Biden won the election, how do you expect to get a deal?
Well, you know, Chris, that's why Dusty and I are both here. And I've listened to you tonight, and I want to start by letting you know and everybody watching know that there are people here in a place filled with actors and so little action. There are a group of us, Democrats and Republicans, Dusty's among them, that sit down together once a week in a place that has institutionalized separation, and we make it our intention to get together, get to know each other, trust one another, and try to rise to the occasion in times just like these. Yeah, I'm really frustrated with my party, and I'm really frustrated with the other party, and I'm really frustrated with the White House. And that's a perception that's shared by very many. The Problem Solvers Caucus came out with a plan, as you know, Chris. First of all, the House voted on 2 bills since the CARES Act, Heroes 1 and Heroes 2. We have been doing the work. Problem Solvers Caucus came up with a March to Common Ground. Dusty and I co-led that effort with our co-chairs, Tom Reed and Josh Gottheimer. We came up with a plan that was celebrated by rank-and-file House members, rank-and-file senators. Even the White House liked it. Of course, it went nowhere.
Why?
And then nothing happened before the election. Well, you know this place just as well as I do, Chris. Look, I was watching the election in 2016. I had a comfortable life. I owned a business. I was very happy in Minneapolis. I watched my daughter's reaction that night in 2016. And I woke up the next morning, I sat at the breakfast table, and I promised them I would do something. And a lot of us who won the elections in 2018 had the same reaction that night. We're here for the same reason, because we're sick of it. And I can tell you, you know as well as I do, the 12 million people who are going to lose their unemployment after the holidays, after Christmas, do you think they really care about what Donald Trump is saying today? Do you think the people whose small business is closing tomorrow because they can't make ends meet, can't pay the rent, put their whole life savings into their business, do you think they really care about the stuff that so many are talking about on Twitter? No. They care about health. And to your point, that's what we are supposed to do. I am sick of the inactivity. I don't know how long my career will be here, but darn it, I'm going to fall on the sword and do my very best to get some help to people who deserve it, who need it, because that is what this country is about.
What's the best answer of why the extraordinary need that has been taking place for months wasn't enough to move the needle?
Chris, I might be on my deathbed someday and still be trying to understand why. This place does not function the way most Americans would expect it to, the way that they deserve. America deserves its Congress to work. I wish I could explain it.
I hear you about that as a culture, but let's get to more of the granular thing. I don't understand what the argument is for no more checks to people. Is it because they believe there's enough money in the support programs that will catch that need? Is it just about the price tag? I mean, why no more checks for people when you know that they need it, not just because they're in poverty, but they're that paycheck away from being in poverty?
Well, I think you have to ask Leader McConnell that specific question. But let me tell you this, Chris, there's actually more bipartisan support for stimulus checks because, you know, we know that consumption is the engine of the economy and money in people's pockets is the fuel. That is something that unifies Democrats and Republicans. That's why stimulus checks were in the first bill. The president actually supports stimulus checks, perhaps because his name was on them, of course. I don't know if this bill that we're working on right now, this bipartisan bicameral bill, will include them. Of course, the Senate's going to play a big role in determining if that's the case. But would I like to personally see them? Of course. That's what people deserve, because actually it will cost us less if we do that now than it will later. And most of all, it's compassionate. And if we don't do it, Chris, geez, I just don't understand why we are unwilling, to your point, to help people in the worst crisis I've known in my lifetime, and I'm sure yours.
Well, look, Joe Manchin says he can't get the stimulus payments to families done, that it's a non-starter for people on the right. Look, I would have loved to have talked to Dusty about it. I believe you that he meets. I believe that he wants better. I've never heard any bad stink on him, but he made the decision not to come on tonight. You know, it's not like we had an argument or something. I never even spoke to him. But how can I have a Republican on the show and not even ask, hey, by the way, are you one of these guys that don't think Biden won? You know, I mean, if there's that level of resistance, Dean, I know you're coming from the private sector, but if you have that built-in kind of animus, they're not going to do anything with you because they don't want to give a win to a side that is seen as the enemy these days. You know,
That's the culture.
Go ahead.
It is the culture, but that's what makes our little group unique. The Problem Solvers Caucus. 50 of us, 25 Democrats, 25 Republicans. You know, Dusty Johnson doesn't have to sit at the Problem Solvers Caucus table. It's probably more politically rewarding for him not to, but he chooses to.
But he didn't have
He's
to
one
bail
of the
tonight.
handful.
He didn't have to bail tonight. He could have come here. He could have said, look, the election's over. The guy won. Let's worry about the people who are starving, Chris. I thought you cared about them. And the conversation goes on. That's it.
Chris, let me just say, though, you know, Dusty is my friend. He's my partner in this